Alright. I'm going to try to do a drum song. Just trying to think of which one isn't too high that I can sing it for you. Let's try, I'm going to try a woman's honoring song. That one's not too high pitched. I think I can get through that. We, as Native people, have always had a great respect for all living things, but most importantly, the women. We realize that they are the gifters of life, the seeds of the earth. In our tradition, we live in a matrilineal society, which means that everything is based on the female side of the family, instead of like today, where we carry those European traditions in the United States, and most people are known as their last name is served by the surname. So, the words of this song talk about the women that come from all these different nations that come into our ceremony, and so this is a way of giving respect and honor to them with the song. So, Jennings Manuna is a native word that means a good way to come. It means woman. Jennings Manuna, a good way to come. Jennings Manuna, Jennings Manuna, away, away, way, 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 na. Jennings Manuna, Jennings Manuna. Way off, way, way off, way, way off, way, way, na. Olame, way, amano, na. Olame, way, amano, na. Way off, way, way off, way, way off, way, na. Way, can't go low. Manuna, Manuna, away, way, 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 na. That's what I can do with songs in my throat. So I apologize for that. But that is Woman's Honor song. As much as I can growl it out.
Not hit somebody next to you. Back up a little bit. Over here a little bit. And over here a little bit. There you go. Okay, this is called double ball. The Indians used to play a game, the men used to play a game called lacrosse. It was a men's game. They called it Little Brother of War. They had a wooden ball, and sometimes they get hit in the head, they died for that. This is a woman's game. It's called two ball or double ball. So we always say that we play two ball with the women, we just get broken arms and legs and we don't get killed. It's real easy to play. The only rules are you can't take it away from somebody else. You just pass it back and forth and try and make sure everybody gets a chance. The other thing is you can't pick it up by your hand. If it's on the ground, you use the hooked end of your stick and pick it up. When you get ready to throw it, all you do is point it to wherever you want it to go, and that's where it should go. But I don't want to see anybody coming up like this, get ready to throw it, because what will happen? And if it's on the ground, I don't want you coming up like this, because what will happen? You put somebody's eye out or knock out a tooth, and I don't want to face mom and dad. Okay, everybody ready? Turn your stick around. There you go. It's a little heavy. It got wet last night or this morning.
Good throw.
Move over here a little bit. Yeah. There you go.
Woo!
But as you can see, we're doing the clothing of the War of 1812, what would have been fashionable then, and utilitarian. As the centuries went on, the waistline started going up, so when you're thinking about 1750s time period or French and Indian War time period, the men's waistcoats were down here. By Revolutionary War, the waistcoats or vests were coming up to about the hip. And then as we get into 1812, the men are wearing more of a, what we call the Regency style, but the vests are very shorter and the pants are high-waisted up to almost the breastbone. Ladies' fashion also. The waistlines went from waistline up to underneath the bust is what we call the empire. It's not very fashionable for us old grandmas, but for these nice young ladies, and they can get their endowments up high, it's quite becoming. So I don't care. I am Rowena Richardson. I'm part of the 1st U.S. Light Artillery. We have Dolly the cannon, and normally I'm cooking, so I am wearing things of linen, natural fibers, of course. The linen apron, obviously, because it's keeping my dress clean. I am wearing, and we'll remove my apron pin here. The Empire style. This is a front opening gown because I don't have a servant, so I have to dress myself. So front opening gowns of some sort, or bib front, as this nice lady's wearing. Those are kind of a sort of a sign that we're dressing ourselves. Okay, if the buttons in the back, then no, you can't button yourself. It has the narrow back. As you can kind of see the way the seam lines are, the men's clothing it all emulates the same. So we're doing kind of a military style with a high collar. Of course, I'm wearing underneath all this, I have period appropriate what we call lady bra stays. These are short. They keep everything together. It supports your back, and I'm also wearing a chemise underneath. That's my slip. It's my nightgown. And during the daytime, a lady would be wearing, or a woman would be wearing a modesty piece or cloth around her neckline, protect her skin when she's outside, because white skin was a virtue back then, not working in the fields. And of course, we always kept our heads covered in reverence to God. So,
class again, I'm wearing short sleeves also, so that I can get otherwise you might have been. Linen petticoat. This is a short gown, as opposed to Revolutionary wore short gowns and bed gowns that were lower waisted. It's risen up.
just like the Regency style.
It's mid front, true mid front. This will come unpinned, straight down, side opening, drawstring down here, drawstring here, so it fits.
And she's wearing her neck covered,
So
we don't want to we want to keep these nice and curly white, okay?
I am also wearing a snooze,
Yeah,
so a bit more decorative than.
the work woman's cap, yeah. Hers is a fancy cap, you have your
I have my
petticoat.
petticoat. I've got a corded petticoat.
Wow.
Keeps the petticoat and the skirt more away from your legs, so a little more mobility when
Really?
you're working.
See, I didn't know that. I learned something new today. Always learn something new
Is
with
it
these.
split leg?
Huh?
Is it split leg? Is it
No.
No, yeah.
No. It's a continuous petticoat.
Yeah.
It's full
And
or just
it's rope.
short?
No, the petticoat goes up in the waist.
You showed her ankle.
No, and we would be wearing socks. Normally, we are in period shoes. Okay, she's like mine. Mine are, I couldn't find my military shoes, but they're just black flats. They're just like ballerina flats. We can 10-foot rule. If it looks pretty good. Some people, because of health reasons, can't wear the proper
I have
things.
foot surgery.
Yeah. But gentlemen, I think we need to get the gentleman in here.
They're the fancy.
We got our dandies here. Yeah. You can describe, what you're wearing and.
So I, being a young man, want to be as fashionable as I can to secure myself a lovely lady. So my clothing is all designed to show off. The Regency time period is a time that the ladies all decided to relax for a bit, so they're not wearing a lot of petticoats and a lot of hoop skirts and all of that. They're wearing reasonably simple, comfortable clothing. All of the guys decided, we're going to show off. So we have a very high-cut tailcoat. It's cut high so that we can show off our vest underneath it, our waistcoat, which we would make out of the fanciest fabric we could afford. So in this case, I have a nice silk waistcoat. The pants are cut very tight. You can see that they are cut to show off every line of my leg.
And other parts too.
It shows that I'm well fed, it shows that I'm muscular, and it shows that I am very available. So the coat that I'm wearing is called an M coat, an M-collared double-breasted tailcoat. So the important feature of all of the Regency style tailcoats is this M-cut collar right here. So if you look, you can see it has the shape of that M. Now it's also double-breasted. So what that means is that there are two fronts to it. We've got this front here. When this front wears out and gets all faded, I can button it that way. So now I present a new front to my coat, so I can get a bit more life out of it and keep it looking nice. So,
Yes, and they need help getting dressed too.
yeah. So you can see on my waistcoat, the back is made out of plain canvas. The back doesn't need to be made out of this expensive material because I'm never going to go anywhere without wearing sleeves of some sort, be it my coat. I could wear a dressing gown, which is similar to a modern-day robe. I could be wearing a smock if I'm going to be working. But whatever I'm wearing is going to cover my back, so you will never know that the back of my waistcoat is the cheapest fabric that I can afford. Now, the top of the collar is cut very high. The style here comes from the military gentlemen, and they'll explain why it's cut there. But part of the fashion that the civilians would wear always comes from what the military is wearing. They wear it for a practical purpose, we wear it because we want to look cool and like the military, so we show off. The pants are cut very high. They're come all the way up to here.
To show off
That's
the sleeve.
how they're done. You'll see up here I have a watch pocket right here. If I were richer, I would have a watch in it. Being a young man who doesn't have much money, I could get myself a watch fob, which would then hang down and look like I have a watch.
I see.
So it looks like I can afford that, but I can't actually. All about showing off.
He's looking for that lady that has a large inheritance and no brothers that will take the family money. 'Cause you were probably the second born, right?
I am the second born,
Yeah,
so I get nothing from my
He
parents.
doesn't get any inheritance.
So the hat is called a round hat. It was one of the common styles. There were a few, but this was a very common style. Anytime I'm outside, I will wear my hat, but if I go inside, I'll take it off. So you can see that I have my hair done in the appropriate style. The sides are raked completely forward. The top is very bushy, and you might notice that it appears very oily. That's to give that certain woodlands ruggedness. It also helps it hold its shape. So I can, if I really wanted to, go in and really get it nicely greased up so I can get a bunch of curliness in there. Because during the Regency, everyone was going crazy about Greek styles. All of the styles, the turbans were in for the ladies. The guys wanted to look like they had rurally hair to them. So if you look up paintings and woodcuts of gentlemen from the time period, they look like they're wearing laurel wreaths on their heads because their hair is all bushy in the front, it's all raked on the sides, so it looks very Greek. That's the style for the hair. My shoes are what is called a tie pump. It's a flat shoe. It is a pretty fashionable shoe if I were in the city. Out in the country, I'd be more likely to be wearing a Jefferson boot, or if I wanted to really show off, if I had the money to afford it, I would be wearing what the next gentleman's wearing in Hessian boots. Any questions about anything I'm wearing?
Always have a scarf.
Yes, so what I'm wearing around my neck is called a cravat. It is a piece of silk that is tied, it holds my collar up, and it looks nice. It can be a bit poofier. If I could afford it, I might have 3 or 4 of them and wear them all at the same time to get a really big bushy knot of silk right at my neck to show off.
Does the silk keep you cool, or is it warm?
Yes and no.
Yes and no, yeah. It's not the most uncomfortable thing to wear. It's not the most comfortable thing to wear. If I were wearing 5 or 6 of them, I would probably have a very warm neck. I'm only wearing 1. So it's about as uncomfortable as a modern necktie is.
We have some natives out here, so be sure and ask them about their clothing and what they wore. Yes, sir. Captain.
I am Captain Stern with the 2nd Kentucky Volunteers. The uniform I'm wearing is the later part of the War of 1812, where it's all navy blue and blue trousers. Early in the war, they had white trousers. The officers and NCOs had white buff leather belts and cross belts early in the war. As the war drew on, they no longer could get the availability of the white ones, so they went black later. You can tell a little bit by the uniform. The maroon colored sash is an indication of an officer. The lieutenant, captain, major, colonel, the sergeant, have a red sash. So whether you're wearing a uniform or in militia frock, which we'll get to later, you can also determine rank based on the sash. We have your private?
Yeah.
Does the thing on your hat indicate rank?
The cockade does not indicate rank. It's more of a symbol of the unit you're in. If you can read the pin with the Federal Eagle, it has 2nd Kentucky Volunteers on there. It's more of an emblem of the unit that you're attached to than rank. So everything, when you're looking for rank, you're looking for the epaulet and or the sash. And the private here from the artillery with the gold braid and things
Indicates artillery.
which indicates artillery, but you can see he's not wearing a sash. And when we talk about the fancy gentlemen with their neck stocks of silk and things, this high collar and the stocks that we wear, the stock is because that's the fashion of the time. the high collar, and as you'll notice on Private Nate here, he has a leather stock. And that all carried over from saber blows. In the Napoleonic time period, with the mounted troops in the saber, it gives you one more layer of protection, trying to penetrate, a saber strike to the neck. I don't know how effective that was, but it, in theory, kind of gave you some idea of feeling that that was going to work. But you'll notice that Nate has the white trousers, and again, was something that was happened at the beginning of the war. As Kentucky militia, the majority of the Kentucky militia, and many of the Ohio militia, and many of the Indiana militia were mounted troops. Therefore, many of the sidearms and weapons we carried were sabers, which were curved as opposed to infantry swords, which were straight. And since we were mounted, quite often you would see Kentucky and Indiana and Ohio troops wearing, high boots for the obvious reasons of being in a stirrup and protection of their lower legs against the brush and things when they're riding horses. The epaulette, if you see an epaulette on someone's left shoulder, that indicates that they are a lieutenant. If it's on the right shoulder and there's only one, he's a captain or a major. If he has one on both shoulders, he's a colonel or above. And just steer clear. We have Sergeant Reed here, and I'll let him talk a little bit about his outfit.
So, my regiment is the 5th Indiana Mounted Rifle Volunteers. In 1811, we were formed up in southern Indiana for the Tippecanoe campaign. You might think of the colors. At the time, camouflage wasn't really important. So, my regiment, with the yellow fringe, tells us that we are riflemen. For a captain that needed to tell us to go somewhere, he knew what our role was on the battlefield and could tell us what to do accordingly to what needed to be done. So everything I'm wearing has a function to it. Got my possibles bag, which has everything from tools to repair parts for my rifle. Got my powder horn, obviously, that only held my powder. This is an antler powder measurer. Every time I would have to reload, I would have to fill this up with powder to pour down my barrel. This is a quick reload. Instead of digging around in my possibles bag, trying to find a ball and a patch, I would already have it in this, where I just have to stick it over my rifle and just ram it home. Put this back. This is my whisk and pick. So, on my rifle, there's a small vent hole, which would be functionality for my pick. After 5 or so rounds, this would get blocked. I'd have to clean that out. And this is just a horsehair brush to brush that off and try to clean it a little bit. So I'm a sergeant. I would sometimes have to write stuff down. Now I can't put it back in my belt. So this is my rifleman's knife. This is for fighting. It's not sharp because it doesn't need to be for me. See if I can find my sheath.
I know if I get me.
And this is my working knife, so this is my sharp knife. And of course, my sash tells me that I'm a sergeant. And per the captain, I'm going to show you guys how to reload one of these. I'm not going to ram any paper or anything down.
When we're reenacting, we use paper cartridges. It's a paper tube rolled up where we put in a measured amount of powder so everybody shoots a safe amount of powder so it's not going to explode. That's why even though we're riflemen, which we normally would use powder horns and cut patch and round ball, we load when we're doing reenactments out of a paper cartridge, and we never touch our ramrods on these battlefield demonstrations.
It's happened to where people forget to take their ramrods out. You shoot the ramrod across the field. So I would pull this out of my belly pouch or my cartridge box, and that's where Bite the Bullet came from, because the bullet would be at the very top of the cartridge to open the cartridge, you would bite the bullet and keep the bullet in your mouth.
And you had to have 2 opposing teeth.
You had to have one tooth on top of the other in order to serve.
Yeah. Yeah, fight.
So,
And a neat tidbit of information, most of Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky militiamen were riflemen where we cut past, so teeth were not a huge concern.
so I don't have to put very much in my pan. And I'm going to have to get my tool out to tighten my flint.
Does someone have the other kind of gun? There's like a rifle and a
musket?
I just pour that all the way down. And some small reenactments, we pack the paper down for a bigger bang,
Grab me a musket.
but not for most. Now I have to get a tool out because my
Flint is loose.
my flint came
Because
loose.
this is fired by a stone flint. As we go later, we get percussion caps
So this kind of
towards the Civil War.
shows the difficulty of trying to find something. I'm trying to find a turner screw. My vent came loose. Or not my vent, my flint came loose. So I'll have to tighten that back up.
People think flintlocks are unreliable, slow to load, and faulty in their fire and performance. I watched a gentleman at one of our events in a drizzle, I mean a constant drizzle, fire his Fusey French trade gun 7 times in a row, just as fast, as quick as he could load in a bit of a rain. Now that being said, when you open your pan, well, the whole premise of this is you've got a flint, which is harder than the steel. The frizzen is a hardened piece of steel here right on the front so that you can make sparks. So when the flint hits the frizzen and it makes sparks, those sparks touch off the powder that you put in the pan, which ignites through the touch hole or the vent hole to the powder that's in the breech of the rifle. If while you're loading and you're in a bit of a rain or a drizzle or under a tree that's dripping and
Or even sweat.
or even sweat leans over, one drip falls in there and hits that powder in the pan, you've got mud. And that gun will not go off no matter how many times you spark into it. So take a vent pick or whisk, wipe that out, or you take your shirt, your thumb, and you wipe that out. Start over again.
And all the while you're doing this out in the open. You guys are not hiding like modern day
Oh, heck no.
military. You're
Well, it depends, because if you're militia, we're Indian fighters, first and foremost, and if we get an opportunity to stand behind a tree or a bush or something, some cover, we're going to be fighting Indians or shooting ready for cover. If, whereas infantry, we're given orders by our higher commanders that we're going to fight in rank and file formation, linear formation here. Then you're right out there in the open and you're just going like crazy, load and shoot down range faster at them than they're shooting at you. Before he touches that off, this is a musket. This is a Brown Bess musket, second model, and this is with a primary weapon that the British had used. Now the Americans had plenty of these around, picked up after the Revolutionary War, and from clear through to the War of 1812, there were Brown Bess muskets that were sold as trade guns to the natives and farmers, people could use them for home defense. So even a lot of American forces were using the Brown Bess musket against the British during the War of 1812. The Brown Bess musket is like a shotgun in the extent that it's not rifled. It's a very large bore with no rifling, and it's shot at 35 shells round ball, which is a really big round ball, lead round ball. 90 grains of powder and a lead round ball that's big enough, if it hits you in the arm or the leg, whatever, I mean, you would just go down because, I mean, that's a lot of force. When the Americans were fighting with their Springfields, very similar to the French Charlevilles, the Americans had a tendency to use bucket ball, which would be a handful of smaller 38 caliber round balls and one great big musket ball on top of that, and we ran those down. So when we shot at the enemy, we had a spray shotgun effect. The British didn't think that was very gentlemanly of us, but we didn't care. And that helped carry the battle quite a few times. But the accuracy of a Brown Bess musket would be about from here to that second basketball goal, maybe 75 yards tops. And if a man was standing there and you were aiming at him and you were a fairly good shot, you stood a fairly good chance you might hit him somewhere. Anything beyond that, you just shoot in that general direction and hope between you and everybody else in your rank that somebody's ball hits that guy, as opposed to Matt's rifle.
The reason why is because for quick reloads, the ball was made smaller than the bore of the barrel. So when they would fire off their gun, it would bounce going down the barrel, and it's incredibly inaccurate. But that was to make a very quick reload to get lead downrange faster than your opposing.
A soldier in the infantry with a musket was expected to be able to fire 4 shots in a minute. That's 1 round every 15 seconds. And so they had a cartridge box, which the flap exposed the box with the holes in it that the cartridges were in. They were already pre-measured out paper tubes with the powder and the ball. Actually, the ball was at the bottom, the powder was at the top. So when you would come up and where the fold was, you would tear, you would prime, shut the pan, cast about, pour the powder down, squirt the ball into it, pull the ramrod, ram it down, put it back, come back up to the shoulder, and you're ready to go. And they could fire that 1 round every 15 seconds. With a rifle, and I've been timed at our Stone's Trace, I can get off 2 rounds in a minute, sometimes even a little bit past that, and that's pouring out of a powder, pouring into a measure, and I would already have my patch hanging, getting it wet while I'm grabbing a ball, put the patch on the muzzle, put the ball on it, push it in, pull my knife, cut it off, ram it down, come back up, prime it, and shoot, and aim and shot. So, yeah, you could pass that around. That is a musket ball and a loading block. Comparison size to the rifle balls in a patch. Now, these musket balls were never in a patch. They were only in a paper cartridge, but you can pass that around so everybody kind of see the differences in the size of the projectile.
But see, that's accurate up to 70 yards, while this is accurate up to 300.
Very good. You loaded up front?
I'm loaded up front.
I just step out underneath there and touch it off. Now, if anybody was expecting to hear a boom, like it take a while for that powder to burn through and set off the charge, that's not the way a flintlock is. If it's clean and in the right condition, it's fast.
What about the guy who shoots from the left side?
Well, left-handed, there were none.
He didn't.
I didn't think so.
In the military during that time period, if you were a left-handed person, you learned to load and shoot right-handed.
Right-handed.
Because the drill and everything was set up for right-handed people. Same thing, I believe, clear through the Civil War.
Half of that leather stock is to keep you from looking down when you're marching.
One little curiosity about the leather stock: when a Kentucky militiaman who was captured up at the River Raisin in Michigan, the British officers and everybody were inspecting the raggedy-looking Kentucky militia troops. Well, this Kentucky militiaman had his leather stock, and he had painted in yellow, kind of gold color, a lion laying on its back upside down, belly up, with a federal eagle tearing its guts out from above, right prominent in the front of his leather stock. And of course, when the British officers came up to that prisoner and saw this belligerent Kentuckian stand there with an eagle ripping out the lions, they were not too amused. I just thought that was rather humorous.
Did he live?
He did. He was paroled, went back to Kentucky, re-enlisted later, and went up and fought him again.
That oval again. All right, children, you ready? It's not mark. One. Right foot. One. Left. Company, halt. Front. Fight. much is that? Yeah, try this way. I'm going 2 different ways.
Oh yeah, that's
So you guys want?
I'll try.
I need a little persuasion.
Stand like that. Right here. You feel to leave your hand messed up. One up, one more. Right there. Not like that. Pull all the way back.
Okay, so he's got to create a vacuum. He's thumbing the bench. That's the little touch hole in the back. Then he's searching the piece with a wire worm, making sure there's no debris, making sure one of your kids didn't put a pop can down, okay? On the way by. Or there's leftover foil from the powder for sharks. They're wet sponging, so they're going to extinguish any embers that might be left. Dry sponging. Dry that tube out. We don't want a lot of water in the bottom. Hear the top? Yeah, that's what we want to hear. We want to hear about it. Don't touch it until you get up there. Yeah, we've got some new recruits here. We're doing our training. Okay, now I want you to turn that bag around and on the other side. So when you walk up, we loaded it. They're ramming it down.